It is the Thursday, January 6th edition of Baseball Today. My man T. Plouffe already rocking out. I am Chris Rose. It is good to be with everybody today. And I got to tell you, I am super excited. Do you have any idea why on this date?
I don't. I'm sure you're going to tell us, though. So
because season 6 of BattleBots launches tonight on Discovery and Discovery Plus. Have you even watched a single episode?
Of course, I've watched BattleBots.
Okay. Does Teddy like it?
I've showed him some stuff, and what he said was, "I want to build one." Remember, I told you Uncle Chris is going to help us build one.
Yes. No. I'll get somebody who can help build one. Do not ask Uncle Chris. Uncle Chris has good connections. Uncle Chris cannot. No. So, yeah, watch tonight. Try and get him to watch. On the West Coast feed, you could watch it at 5 o'clock. Obviously, if you're on the East Coast, 8 o'clock. And then you can find all the good stuff on Discovery Plus. But it was a fun season. Everything in Las Vegas was really cool.
I love it. I remember you being out there. We FaceTimed quite a bit while you were out there.
Yes, we did.
We were real tight at that time of our lives.
Yes. Well, we're still tight. It's just
we're real tight.
It's just baseball's not real tight right now. And so
I just want you to come golfing with me. That's all.
It will happen. It will. It'll probably have to happen after the Super Bowl because my weeks are really ultra focused. Maybe your buddy Matthew Stafford will be playing in that game. Who knows?
He might be
if he stops throwing it to the other team.
Hey, he got a victory in Baltimore. Relax, bro. What's their record? 11-4 or something like that. 12-4.
Yeah, so they have if they win, they'll be the 2 seed, and that'll be a good spot for them to be in. So we'll see. All right, let's get to a little baseball. Not much happening except for conjecture. And last night at Dirk Nowitzki's retirement ceremony in Dallas, who was there? We saw CeeDee Lamb. We saw Amari Cooper of the Dallas Cowboys. And who was sitting next to those two in the front row? Clayton Kershaw. Yes, a dignitary of Dallas. Of course, he grew up there. That's where he lives in the offseason. So it got me thinking, what's your gut telling you? Is he coming back?
First of all, Clayton, legend. And my gut, my mind, everything, people on Twitter, everyone's saying Clayton's coming back to LA. And I kind of started to think, is Clayton more famous in LA or Dallas? It's got to be LA, right? I know he's from Dallas. He lives there.
Yeah.
Or maybe both.
Yeah.
Is the guy he's a guy in 2 cities? I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that. I have to tell you this. From having worked in the sports world for almost 3 decades, the Dallas Cowboys are on a different level down there. So any athlete in Dallas, if you are if you're a starting corner that's like the number 2 corner on the Cowboys, you're still more popular than basically any other athlete in that city, except for maybe a Luka Doncic.
Nolan Ryan, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, Nolan Ryan. Okay, we're talking about a legend who played down there.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
All that sort of stuff. But I'm talking about
he's coming back to LA. That's just, I really believe that.
So here's what I had to think a little bit. I wondered, the longer this lockout goes, and one of these days on this show, we will talk about, now they've gone well over a month without speaking, what that means for spring training and the season and everything else. But just as far as if that continues to get pushed back, Clayton and his wife, Ellen, they just had their 4th child. Does it make you wonder if he says, screw it, I'm good?
It makes me wonder, yes. I mean, this is the thing everyone has to remember. He left last season with an elbow issue. Mm-hmm. So, and there's a reason the Dodgers didn't offer him a qualifying offer. They were interested in, what was going to become of this injury. So I think we have to check in on that. If his elbow is all good and he's ready to go, I think he's going to pitch. I think he has a lot of baseball left in him if he wants. Like you said, he could do whatever. He's made all his money. He has all the accolades. I found something interesting, Chris. And I had the utmost respect for Clayton. Now it just grew. 23-year-old Clayton Kershaw won a Gold Glove.
Did he?
He was out there slanging that glove around as a young buck. It just added the next level of respect. I love Clayton. Do whatever you want, dude. I think you're going to be back in LA, though.
So a Gold Glove is what took him to another level of respect in your book?
Yeah, because, I don't love starters in general. Yeah. Clayton's, worthy of respect because of his body of work. But, when a guy's getting after it and he's taking PFP seriously and he's hitting you in the chest and fielding bunts, yeah, there's a little bit more respect.
What makes you think that Clayton Kershaw doesn't take every single facet of baseball seriously?
Well, some guys take it seriously, Chris, and then can't do it. And trust me, if you want to just go to spring training and check that out. But Clayton can do it too. I didn't know that. I'm just saying I didn't know.
I did. Did I ever tell you I did PFPs with the Colorado Rockies one year?
Yeah.
You've seen that video where the dad bod is there's just extra layers. This was always Millar's shtick. Whenever we did something, if we were taking BP or PFPs that day or whatever, he would always order smaller pants and shirts than I would need, because he loved it when everybody could see just the globs of extra goo all over my body.
Teams do that anyway. I'm convinced in spring training they give you the worst outfits. They want to see what kind of shape you're in. You can't hide with some of that dry fit stuff.
I guess I never really answered this question. I also believe that Kershaw's coming back, and I also believe it's with the Dodgers. I don't see him. Everybody is pointing toward the Rangers. I don't think he wants to be a part of that. I think he wants to pitch in. Although I like what the Rangers are doing, I probably think at this point, they're probably at best a 500 team, which would be a monumental leap from a team that won 100 or lost 102 games a year ago. But I don't think at this point in his career, he wants to be part of a 2 to 3 year turnaround. He wants to pitch in where every game is meaningful. And that's,
I think so too.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, when I got a good look at his tickets, this is just kind of a quick topic. Your favorite sporting event that you have attended as a spectator is what?
This goes all the way back to 2003, I believe. USC football hot in the streets. I wanted to go to USC. I knew I was going to go to USC, but there was other colleges recruiting me as well, UCLA being one of them. So they had this thing called a junior day. Brought me on the field when they were playing USC. That's why I chose the game, obviously. Kind of sorry about that, UCLA. On the field, I saw Carson Palmer flip into the end zone. There was like a Mike Williams TD where he stood over. It was an incredible game. They whooped up on UCLA, and it was like I was rooting for the Trojans, but UCLA gave me the tickets. I felt a little bad, but
no, you didn't.
That's how I was back in the day. Look out.
That's okay. Good one.
You?
For me, it was January 3rd, 1987, I believe is the date. Cleveland Browns playoff game against the New York Jets. We had season tickets, but it was the first playoff game that I had personally attended. And the Browns, they were a huge favorite, and they were losing to the Jets. We gave up a Freeman McNeil, speaking of UCLA, that's where he went, touchdown with a little over 5 to go, and we were down 20-10. I remember turning to my brother, who was in college at the time and home on break. I was like, I can't take this. Let's get out of here. And he said, sit your fucking ass down. My brother doesn't swear. He's like, I'm not leaving. Well, somehow the Browns scored 10 points in the last 5 minutes, forced overtime. It ended up going into double overtime where Mark Mosley hit a game-winning field goal. And it was amazing because the stadium had started to empty out. And then when we got it to 20-17 with under 2 minutes to go, they opened up all these old garage doors and let people back in the stadium. It's crazy. A lot of fun. That's awesome. And then the next week, John Elway tore my heart out by doing the drive right in front of my face.
Oh,
okay. Let's move on.
Okay.
Latest episode of the Rose Rotation. We've got a lot of good, positive response about it. And we appreciate those guys joining us, Jeff and Howard and Ken. Hall of Fame discussion. There's one specific area I want to focus on, and it got everybody's blood boiling a little bit, and it had to deal with the infamous character clause that is given to writers when they're filling out their ballots. So here's a little taste of what happened in the Rose Rotation.
I voted based on what a guy did on the field. I think the character clause is complete garbage and needs to be extricated from the entire process, because I think the notion that sports writers are going to be the moral arbiters for baseball players is positively laughable.
And the reason why I don't think the character clause needs to go is because this sport spends a lot of time profiting off of character. They spend a lot of time selling character. They go out of their way to sell people's characters, and the players go out of their way to sell character. So if you're going to try to profit off of character, you better walk the walk.
So let me ask you this. As a former player, are you in favor or not?
I tend to agree with what Jeff said, like letting sports writers be the moral,
Arbiters.
Arbiters is what he said. Yeah. I understand that point. I also understand Howard's point. This is a touchy subject, and it's difficult to really formulate an opinion without really going super, super deep. And this is a 30-minute show. So I would say what's difficult for me in letting the morality clause kind of happen is we know people that are already in the hall have some serious issues, and it didn't matter then. So it's like, it didn't happen then. Are we going to do it now when we know things? Maybe. I have a very cloudy brain when it comes to this question. I'm just being honest.
Well, yeah, and that's why I brought it up, because it is so controversial. Like we threw that clip out there on social media, and somebody said, well, what happens if in between the time somebody retires and then is hall eligible that they commit murder or something like that? I was like, okay, that's a one-off. I haven't heard it a lot, but maybe that could happen. And then we're all sitting here in a somewhat of a conundrum. For me, I lean toward what Jeff said. The Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Baseball Hall of Fame are very different in terms of their voting guidelines. And I know voters in both sports very well. In the NFL, they strictly say it is all about on the field. They didn't care that Lawrence Taylor was snorting the 20-yard line. They don't care that certain guys will get suspended for PEDs. Okay, they're not going to care. And I'll use the case of a Julian Edelman, who I think will be an interesting guy on the ballot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was suspended for 4 games for PED use. Nobody's going to give a shit about that.
No.
But in our sport that we love and cover, my God, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, these are all guys that put up pretty much Hall of Fame credentials and aren't in because of that issue. So I do have a problem with it. I think the character clause is ridiculous. I think it was created back in a day where, we must care about character. We've grown as a society. I'm not saying that
we care about character now. Back when that was put in, I'm sure the media was the guard of not letting the true character out. Like that used to happen too.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sounds it's interesting because I'll tell you, but when you do get voted into either Hall of Fame or any Hall of Fame, all of a sudden you have a bigger platform. You're profiting off that. So it's like, if we know someone is a complete POS, like now we're going to just give him a platform to do what? But then, yeah, it's like who gets to decide who is a POS and who isn't. It's tricky, man. Baseball's put ourselves in a really interesting situation in a lot of different facets.
That's the number one point, and I think the number one thing I got out of having that discussion about the Hall of Fame was that we have to remember it as a museum. And museums are around to tell both good and not so great parts of stories.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It doesn't mean that history, just because it was bad, didn't happen. It just means that it happened and we have to learn from it. And that's the role of a museum. First and foremost, is to teach and educate. Yes, it means a lot to those people that get in, and it can change their lives. It changes the way they feel about themselves, maybe the way they look at themselves, and it can change their pocketbooks. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree that we should just put everything in there and then explain everything. Here's what happened. Here's this scandal. Here's, whatever. I think I agree with that. So I guess if I agree with that, then that means that the morality clause should be gone.
All right. That makes a nice, by the way, check out the latest episode of the Rose Rotation. It's gotten a lot of positive feedback. I really appreciate everybody tuning into it that has. And if you have baseball friends that haven't been tuning in because of the lockout or whatever, this is kind of a nice little one-off, kind of going down a different road than we usually do with the Rose Rotation. Speaking
it was
of the
really
Hall
good,
of Fame,
Chris.
Pardon me?
It was really good.
Thank you. No, I really enjoyed doing it, and we'll be doing that on a yearly basis. No question. Speaking of the Hall and being Hall eligible for the first time, A-Rod is. A report in the New York Post said that he is on his way out from Sunday Night Baseball, and our guy David Cohn might be one of the replacements. Coney, if that's what you want, we are rooting you on. 2 thumbs up in that area. But A-Rod's days at ESPN might not be over. He is reportedly being considered for a Manning cast type program. Does that interest you?
It does not. First, I want to say, yeah, Coney will be excellent in that booth. I love listening to him call games. So
he's great.
Shout out Coney. I would not be interested in that. I don't think it would be very informative. I think it'd be more of like some sort of laugh zone, like trying to have a good time. And I don't want to watch baseball like that. So maybe some people would be interested. I wouldn't be interested.
Are you not interested in the idea, or are you not interested in the idea with A-Rod?
I'm interested in the idea, but not with A-Rod. And I wanted to come up with 2 names who I thought could, go do it. Mm-hmm. And I came up with a couple, but they're still playing, but they're like almost out. I think these guys would be perfect together. Adam Wainwright and Andrew McCutchen.
Great
the pitcher.
ones.
You have the hitter, great personalities, faced each other a lot. So they have some history.
Yep.
Some back and forth, whatever.
Really
I think
funny,
excellent,
smart, decorated players.
Exactly. There's a lot of criteria for that.
Totally.
People are like, oh, you could do it. I could not do it. I don't have the accolades. I don't have the postseason success. You have to have real guys in there that can talk about every single moment of the game. I don't have that. And I admit it. That's fine. Guys like that, like Kutch and Wainwright, perfect. Maybe a Molina. I like those guys. Like the older guys that are just straight fresh out the game.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great call. The reason the Manning cast works is because they both played the most important position in sports. So they can explain everything that's going on in the field. I love the Manning cast, except when your team's playing in the game. The Browns just played on a Monday night, even though the game didn't mean anything. The Browns. I watched a little bit of the Manning cast, but I couldn't get as into it. I just couldn't. So
because it gets to a point where it's not focusing on the game. It's more.
But that's
stuff.
good.
And
it's called.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called an alternate broadcast for a reason. If they if they want to die on the hill of A-Rod, it's the wrong way. I don't have anything against A-Rod personally. He's not a guy I hang out with. I know people who do. I have a good friend who's very good friends with him, and he and I talk about this all the time. He's not likable. You have to be likable in that. He's not.
Some people really like A-Rod.
Okay, stop. You really think A-Rod's a likable guy when it comes to television? You think he comes across as genuine and likable?
I mean, look, I've been on record many times saying I don't enjoy what he does, but some people do. I don't think he's for baseball people. I think he's for a very, very casual fan.
But
because people know him in his face. Exactly.
He doesn't.
But that's what they're trying to do, is draw on a more casual fan.
I would agree with you there.
Which I think is a mistake. I think it's a mistake, but that's what they're trying to do.
Don't you think Peyton and Eli are likable?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't find it with A-Rod. I just don't. Everything that comes out of his mouth feels calculated.
Trust me, I'm on the same page as you. Tell me, do you have any guys that you think would be good in the role?
No, I think you nailed it with those 2 guys.
I was thinking Votto. I think Votto maybe is too technical.
Votto would be a hilarious watch.
He'd be really good. Yeah, I know. I would like that. I'm trying to go general population tuning into a baseball game because of this thing. I think Kutch and Wainwright would do really well. Votto would be great.
Yeah, the thing is, one thing you have to keep in mind, and they do, in my opinion, and this is a little inside media, they do one too many guests on the Manning cast. I wouldn't have one.
I think so too.
I'd have 3 spread out throughout the game because I think those guys are so good at talking football when it needs to be talked about.
They shouldn't have one in the fourth quarter. Let's talk about the game in the fourth quarter.
Let's let the game tell the story. But you need guys in those seats that the guests are excited to talk to. Right?
Yeah.
And guys like Wainwright and McCutchen, I do think fit that bill.
And you have keep going on this, but I think you have to know how to engage fans. So you have to know how to use social media because I feel like that's very social-ish. You can't just be up there. Like, I don't think the guys that do kind of like the Fox stuff could do that. And I guess that kind of includes A-Rod. I think like he needs to know how to like engage in like a more modern way with fans.
Well, I will say this. I do think Poppy could do it because of the reverence that people have for him in the sport. I do. I actually think he gets lost on the Fox show. Poppy's really smart, dude. I don't know
he is.
If you've spent any time with him.
Mm-hmm.
But when you just sit and talk baseball with him, he's really good. But they always want to build him up as like the jokester.
Yeah.
And, the guy who's ripping on A-Rod.
Is that him or is that like Fox doing that?
I think it's producers. And like I said, I know all those guys. Some of them are really good friends of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and I do think they do a good job on that show. I really do. I think that in the playoffs, I think Kevin Burkhardt does a phenomenal job. I think those guys, they've done a really nice job ingratiating themselves to an atmosphere in baseball. They'll park themselves right outside of Fenway Park for a big playoff game or Wrigley Field or something. And they really make it almost like a college game day type atmosphere, which I think they've really done an excellent job there. So
I agree. I'm sticking with my guys. I've been racking my brain trying to find other people I think would be good.
Really good.
But yeah,
I'm proud of you. Really proud of you. There are a couple guys I would suggest, but I think one of them's kind of gone off the deep end, so I don't want to bring up his name. All right. Here's something that's kind of near and dear to your heart since you spent much of your career up in the Twin Cities. Throughout the holiday season, I was combing around social media, and I saw this teacher up there. I don't know if he's in Minneapolis, but obviously he's a Minnesota sports fan. And he said several interesting things to the kiddos in his class. So give a listen.
Why? Because I'm not a Fairweather fan who bails on their teams. You were born here. This is your curse. Suck it up. Join the party, the worst party in the history of mankind. But you're in the party. You're on the invite list. You can't get out. You can't get out. No, have you ever heard the song Hotel California? It should be called Hotel Minnesota because there's a line where it's like, but you can't ever leave. And you can't. You can't ever leave. You are a fan of Minnesota sports teams. You don't have a choice. You can't say, the Yankees are good. Nope. The Yankees are dead to all of us. We have to continue to cheer for a team that spends $90 million when others are spending $350 million. We're done. We're done.
I like it. Who's that team spending $350?
Yeah. Okay, so his numbers are a little off. Hopefully he's not teaching math. Hopefully it's something else. So what'd you think? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
He sounds like a Jets fan. And that's look, guys. I know Minnesota people very well. And yes, I know the sports have been just haunting for them. The Twins and the playoff woes, the Yankees being, just really the dad there in that relationship. The Vikings have not been there. There was the missed field goal when they were playing at the University of Minnesota. Who was that? Blair Walsh, maybe?
Yes, against Seattle.
Against Seattle, yeah, he pulled it. The list can go on and on and on. They've had a tough fandom, but usually they're just too nice. And I think that's kind of this is the message the guy is giving. He's like, we're just too nice. We're not going to switch teams. Minnesota people sneaky love Minnesota. Not even sneaky. Like they are very passionate about just being Minnesotans. So they're never going to leave their fan bases. I pray that they start winning some championships in Minnesota. It's a great place to play sports. The fans are great because they do stick by you no matter what. And you know what? Going back to our last question, the guy that's going to bring him a ship, A-Rod's in Minnesota now, baby. It's your duty. Come on, Alex.
Yeah, well, they do have some good young players on the T-Wolves. So they've been an interesting ride this year. I think it gets to the bigger question of fandom and being born into it, right? I mean,
yeah,
like both my kids were born in Los Angeles. They have spent less than 100 days total in Cleveland, Ohio, but they love Cleveland sports teams. So it's like their dad poisoned them from birth. So you could have taken this teacher and put them in Cleveland, in Detroit, in Cincinnati.
Exactly.
In a lot of cities. But it is easy to. I'm always curious about the fan who grew up a Yankees, Lakers, and Cowboys fan.
Just
Does that piss you off?
They don't get to talk about anything. I don't care if your dad was a fan of all those teams. You don't get to talk about anything. Like I truly believe you need to root for the sports teams where you like live or grew up. Like if you move, I think you're allowed to switch sports teams because you want to go to games. Like here I am in LA. We had no team growing up, a football team. So I became a Seahawks fan when Pete went there because he was at USC. Loved that. We used to go to Seattle and see games. And now that I've met Matthew and he's playing for the Rams, like this is the perfect time for me to switch and be a Rams fan. Like I want to be able to go.
So you've given up your Seahawks allegiance?
Pretty much.
Oh,
Russ is on the way out. Pete's the oldest coach in the NFL. Like those are the reasons I love Marshawn. Those are the guys that I love there, and the reason why I wanted to be a Seattle Seahawks fan. But now it just makes sense for me to, even when Matthew's gone, to be a Rams fan because I want to go to the games.
So
root for my hometown.
By your thought process, when the Cleveland Browns did not exist from 96 through 98, I should have picked another team.
I mean, I didn't have a team for my entire childhood, Chris, in LA.
Yeah. I just can't do that. I'm a loyal one stop shopper. That's it.
That's
Cleveland.
I forgot that Cleveland didn't have a football team for that.
Oh, I didn't.
That amount of time.
It was brutal.
Ouch.
I was working at CNN at the time every Sunday, and everybody's all fired up about the NFL. And I was like, this day sucks. It was horrible. Not having, I mean, the Browns were my team 5 times in the 80s. We won the division, made the playoffs, got to close to the Super Bowl 3 times, all that sort of stuff, and then just have it yanked away from you. That sucked. So I don't know. I thought for a while that somebody was going to knock on our door and take me away because I was mentally abusing our children, making them Cleveland sports fans. So,
hey, can I make a definitive statement here?
Yes.
This is about allegiances and your teams. If you go to a sporting event that doesn't involve your team, say you're a Niners fan and you're going to a Rams Seahawks game, do not wear your 49ers gear to the game. Like, don't. Like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Please don't. If you're a person that does that, I beg you, please stop.
Is that just a safety issue, or is it just doesn't look good?
It just is ridiculous.
Okay.
That has nothing to do with safety. I mean, I guess you could bring that into the discussion, but it looks ridiculous.
Yeah. So am I wrong to have not let my kids root for LA teams?
No, it's fine. I honestly don't really have a problem with it as long as you like go to the games and are engaged, and I think that's fine. I think my main point in rooting for your hometown team is you can go to so many more sporting events and like, be a part of it more, like be actually a part of the community.
I know, right? I mean, Brady for his 16th birthday, I was like, "What do you want to do?" He's because I want to go to a Browns game.
Yeah, you guys go to games.
Yeah, well, we do when the Guardians now come out here and they go to Anaheim. We'll go to the games every year.
Yeah.
You know, when they come out to LA and play the Dodgers every 6 years, we'll go to those games. Or we'll try and find a place where Cleveland's playing. We've been to a couple Browns games when they've been out here to play the Chargers. But Brady wanted to go to a Browns game in Cleveland for his 16th birthday. So I flew he and Michelle out there, and they destroyed the Bears. It's about the high point of the Browns season. So there you go. What do you have coming up on JOMBOY, my friend?
We did a ridiculous talking baseball yesterday. We did our Hall of Fame ballot. I mean, I'll ask you this. You think we took it seriously?
I actually watched the first 3 minutes of it, and I knew you did not. So I'm anxiously awaiting. I get to watch the last 50 minutes coming up shortly.
If these MFers that got to vote don't take it seriously, we're not going to take it seriously either.
Oh, okay.
That's the overarching point right there.
Yes, very nice. Rose rotation, the Hall of Fame one where the guys did take it seriously. Still out. Go consume it. Really a lot of fun. And then remember the other day I was worried about if my guest would show up for the Rose rotation. I should have had no fear. He was on time. It's just we didn't communicate. I didn't communicate effectively. So Giants pitcher Alex Wood will be on the show next week. Yeah, he was excellent. He was really fun. Good energy. I've talked to him a couple times over the years, but never at length. That's what I kind of like, is I get to know guys over a 45-minute span. It really was fun. We covered a lot of stuff. He went to UGA, so he's a big Dogs guy. So he's very excited about next Monday against Alabama.
Yeah, it's a big game.
Hell yeah, it is. Heck yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah. A lot of
You do
good
such
stuff.
a good job, man. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, stop. I appreciate it.
I am. I swear.
It's been so much fun. I mean, it's really a lot of fun to get to know these guys and talk to them for a while. And hopefully it just continues to grow. And we'll keep everybody posted on what we're doing for the 2022 season.
A lot of stuff about to come out, Chris. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, you keep saying this. I can't wait. In fact, so Brady, Brady's a sophomore in high school. He came home yesterday. He goes, Dad, is JOMBOY making a big announcement? I was like, what do you mean? He said, well, Sam Singer, that's his buddy, who's on the baseball team with him, said there's something big going on at JOMBOY. What is it? I said, I can't tell you. What I didn't say was I can't tell him because I don't know.
No, you know everything.
Oh.
A lot of stuff going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is big.
Am I going to get a contract extension? I don't know.
Don't stop. We're not playing that game through the media.
Anybody else want me?
Oh, my God. I heard MLB Network's got space now.
They got space.
Are you an insider?
I'm very critical, though.
Oh, yeah. Then probably won't work.
Yeah. I have an authority issue with authority.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I do.
Really? Yeah. Wow, you like being married.
It's the only person I let boss me around. Because she's
That is a lifetime one-way contract, brother. I'll let you know. All right, dude. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your family. Enjoy whatever else you may be doing out there. And thanks to everybody for listening and consuming our product. We don't take it lightly. We all know you have a lot of choices out there. Thank you for making JOMBOY Media your home. Certainly in the baseball world. We greatly appreciate it. Special shout out to our guy, Dan Rourke, who's controlling things today and has the wonderful flowing hair. Did you see, Plouffe, did you see his hair today?
I barely got a glimpse of it. Let me see it, Dan.
Dan, let's go. Pop on. Yeah.
Damn, boy.
That. Dude, what'd you do? Did you make a donuts run in the time we did the show?
If you notice while the audio sounded weird in the first clip, my Dunkin' dude arrived right as I was playing it. So
Wait a second. That's where you are in life. You're having a dude knock on your door delivering Dunkin' Donuts.
It costs $9 every day. Yeah.
An additional $9?
Well, it's $4 for the coffee and then like $5 for the delivery fees and stuff.
Oh my God.
Well,
You got to pay a delivery fee and then a tip. So it's like,
Wait a second.
Dan.
Dan, how close is Dunkin' Donuts to your place?
Well, this is my Hoboken crib. So like I'd have to walk. So it's 4 blocks away, but it's not exactly realistic right now. If I was back home, like in Tom's River, then I would drive, but you got to do
What do you
what
mean it's
Hoboken
not realistic? 4 blocks in New York.
Well, it's not realistic when you're producing a show,
So either get it
You go before.
beforehand.
I've been waking up late recently, so
Yeah, well, there it is.
you got to do what you got to do, bro.
Holy smoke.
That's that JOMBOY money. I better get an extension.
It is.
I
James,
know, right?
if Dan's paying $9 for a coffee.
That's what happens. I got my
I'll
extension.
fly
so
across the country and deliver it if that's what you're paying out.
I'm
Jesus.
taking myself out of here.
All right. There he is.
Love you guys.
Everybody have a great day. Thanks for tuning in to Baseball Today.